Behind every red carpet smile lies a secret worth millions. In Hollywood, fairy tale weddings often hide brutal betrayals, addictions, and scandals too wild for the script. These were the couples we once envied, until their love stories turned into headlines no one saw coming. Ready to uncover the truth behind the glitz? You won't believe what really happened when the cameras stopped rolling. Burt Reynolds and Lonnie Anderson, Hollywood's golden couple gone tabloid toxic. They were the poster children of 1980s glam. He, the rugged, mustachioed box office king. She, the sultry TV darling with the million-dollar smile. When Burt Reynolds and Lonnie Anderson got married in 1988, it felt like the red carpet version of destiny. Tabloids called it Hollywood's dream wedding, and for a brief, shining moment, it was. But behind the designer tuxes and camera-ready kisses, the cracks were already forming. What started as movie magazine magic quickly descended into public disaster. Personality clashes, lifestyle differences, and relentless fame pressure turned their once-envied marriage into a slow-motion implosion. Burt grew distant, volatile. Lonnie felt ignored, emotionally abandoned. The love they once paraded in front of flashing bulbs began to rot, one headline at a time. When they separated, it was anything but quiet. Allegations of infidelity, vicious interviews, and brutal accusations flooded the press. Burt accused Lonnie of being money-hungry. Lonnie clapped back, exposing betrayals and emotional neglect. Their divorce in 1993 didn't just end a marriage, it lit a media firestorm. And Burt? He didn't pull punches. In interviews, he famously said marrying Lonnie was a dumb move, while Lonnie held her ground with grace, but not without scars. Their story became a masterclass in how fast love can turn into litigation, especially when fame, ego, and tabloid cameras are in the mix. Burt would later admit the divorce was one of his life's biggest regrets. But by then, the damage was done, and the dream couple of the 80s was nothing more than a cautionary tale in People magazine's archives. Because in Hollywood, even golden couples rust. Kelsey Grammer and Camille Grammer, reality TV's most televised betrayal. To the public, Kelsey and Camille Grammer had it all: fame, fortune, and a picture-perfect family living in a multi-million-dollar Malibu estate. He was the Emmy-winning TV legend from Frasier. She was the glamorous former dancer turned Beverly Hills socialite. Together, they looked like a power couple straight out of a primetime script. But what unfolded next? Not even reality TV could have written it better. In 2010, Camille joined the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and as cameras rolled on her seemingly fabulous life, the real drama was happening off-screen. While she was filming episodes filled with diamonds and Botox, Kelsey was secretly flying back and forth to New York to be with another woman. That woman was Kate Walsh, a flight attendant 26 years his junior. Camille had no idea. The betrayal wasn't just personal, it was national, televised, and emotionally devastating. Imagine watching your husband of 13 years smile for the cameras while building a new life across the country. Kelsey didn't just blindside her, he did it with the subtlety of a wrecking ball in a champagne flute. And when the truth broke, oh, it exploded. Kelsey went public with his new relationship before the ink on the divorce papers was even dry. He remarried Kate within months. Camille, humiliated but composed, let the world see her heartbreak on screen, and instantly became one of reality TV's most relatable anti-heroines. Their divorce became a media circus: custody, property, money, and betrayal, all under the blinding lights of Bravo. When your life is a reality show, betrayal doesn't stay behind closed doors. It hits prime time. How about you? Have you found your destiny? How long has your marriage lasted? Share with me. Ellen DeGeneres and Heche, a love story that changed Hollywood and burned itself out. In the late 90s, Ellen DeGeneres and Anne Heche weren't just a couple, they were a cultural earthquake. At a time when same-sex relationships were still whispered about, they screamed theirs from the red carpet. When they walked hand in hand at the 1997 Emmys, cameras didn't just flash, they exploded. Hollywood gasped, America debated, and overnight they became icons and targets. Ellen had just come out both on screen and off, changing television history. Anne was a rising movie star. Together, they were electric, courageous, unapologetic. But beneath the trailblazing exterior was a romance drowning in pressure. The media hounded them. Industry insiders turned cold. Ellen's sitcom was canceled. Anne's casting calls dried up. The public eye that once admired them now watched like a hawk, waiting for cracks to form. And the cracks came fast. Anne, battling deep emotional trauma from childhood and growing mental health struggles, became increasingly unstable under the spotlight. Her behavior turned erratic. Tabloids feasted. Ellen, meanwhile, tried to hold the line, but fame, backlash, and career nosedives took their toll. By 2000, it was over. No big press release, no joint statement, just silence. Anne spiraled. Ellen grieved quietly, then slowly rebuilt, eventually becoming one of the most powerful names in daytime TV. Anne, however, would carry the weight of that era until her tragic passing in 2022. Their love was bold, but the world wasn't ready. And that's the real heartbreak. Because while they helped open doors for future generations, their own relationship was crushed by the very system they challenged. A bittersweet legacy of what happens when love meets the full weight of history and loses. Jessica Simpson and Nick Lachey. Love, fame, and the reality show that ruined everything. They were the pop royalty of early 2000s America. Jessica Simpson, the blonde bombshell with a powerhouse voice and innocent charm. Nick Lachey, the heartthrob lead of boy band 98 Degrees. Their 2002 wedding was a teen dream come true, sealed with white doves and whispers of forever. But what followed wasn't a honeymoon. It was a reality TV crash course in how to destroy a marriage on camera. Newlyweds, Nick and Jessica debuted in 2003 and instantly became a cultural obsession. Who could forget the infamous "Is this chicken or tuna?" moment? The world laughed. The ratings soared. But behind the scenes, cracks were forming. Because when your love life becomes a weekly entertainment package, privacy dies, and so does intimacy. The show turned their real-life quirks into punchlines. Jessica became the dumb blonde caricature, and Nick the exhausted husband rolling his eyes. Fame grew, but so did the gap between them. Jessica's solo stardom skyrocketed, movies, albums, endorsements, while Nick's career plateaued. Resentment simmered, egos clashed, and the cameras kept rolling. By 2005, it was over. 3 years of marriage, but only one real conclusion: letting the world into your bedroom might just push love out of it. The divorce was public, but relatively tame. No scandals, no cheating allegations. Just two young stars who outgrew the roles the media wrote for them. Jessica later admitted the show was a mistake. Nick called it one of the dumbest things I've ever done. Still, Newlyweds made history and taught us this. When reality TV meets real emotion, someone's heart is going to break for ratings. Mariah Carey and Tommy Mottola, the pop princess, trapped in a gilded cage. Before the glitter, before the whistle notes and Christmas domination, Mariah Carey was a 20-something newcomer with a once-in-a-generation voice, and Tommy Mottola was the music mogul who discovered her. But behind every fairy godfather is a man who sometimes confuses control with love, and in Mariah's case, that confusion became a prison. They married in 1993, in a ceremony straight out of a Disney film. Lavish, regal, excessive. To the outside world, it looked like a dream. The biggest voice in music and the biggest executive in the industry. But behind the doors of their mansion, Mariah wasn't a bride. She was a captive. Tommy controlled everything, not just her career, her clothes, her friendships, her movements, her thoughts. It was like being locked away, Mariah later said. She called it a gilded cage, where every luxury masked a deep, emotional suffocation. Cameras may have captured her smiles, but they missed the fear in her eyes. While her fame skyrocketed, her freedom evaporated. Every chart-topping single became a louder cry for independence. And finally, in 1997, she walked away, not just from a marriage, but from a man who built her and tried to own her. The divorce wasn't just personal, it was symbolic. Mariah broke free, redefined herself, and became the diva we now know, fearless, glamorous, unapologetically Mariah. Tommy? He remarried to another young Latina pop star, Awkward, and continued his reign in the industry, but the narrative never fully recovered. Because now we know power and love don't mix when one person has all the control. Mariah Carey's escape wasn't just a breakup, it was a rebirth. A woman who found her voice and refused to let anyone else hold the microphone again. Nicolas Cage and Erica Koike. 4 days of holy matrimony and a lifetime of headlines. Only Nicolas Cage could out-cage himself. In March 2019, the Oscar-winning actor, known for wild roles, eccentric purchases, and a career that swings between genius and meme, walked into a Las Vegas wedding chapel with makeup artist Erica Koike. Hours later, they were husband and wife. The whole thing had the energy of a late-night blackjack binge, impulsive, loud, and doomed. But here's the kicker. 4 days later, Cage filed for an annulment. 4 days. That's shorter than a long weekend in Cabo. His reason? He claimed he was too drunk to understand what he was doing. Yes, the man who once stole the Declaration of Independence somehow couldn't steal a sober thought before signing a marriage license. The tabloids feasted. Headlines screamed. Memes were born. This wasn't just a failed marriage. It was performance art. Fans weren't even shocked. This was the same Nicolas Cage who bought a dinosaur skull, lost a fortune, and allegedly outbid Leonardo DiCaprio for rare collectibles. Of course, his love life would follow the same chaotic pattern. For Erica, it was sudden fame, paparazzi, and a crash course in what it means to marry Hollywood's most unpredictable man. For Cage, it was another entry in his already colorful personal history. A reminder that in Vegas, what happens there doesn't always stay there. Sometimes it gets annulled before you even unpack your honeymoon bag. The story remains a symbol of reckless love, Vegas style. A 4-day marriage that lives forever in Hollywood infamy. Because if anyone was going to make matrimony look like a lost bet at the roulette table, it was Nicolas Cage. Mike Tyson and Robin Givens, the knockout marriage that ended in fear. In the late 1980s, they looked unstoppable. Mike Tyson, the youngest heavyweight champion in boxing history, and Robin Givens, the elegant actress with brains and beauty. When they married in 1988, it was billed as a golden union. Sports royalty meets Hollywood starlet. But what unfolded behind closed doors wasn't a love story, it was a nightmare. Barely months into the marriage, whispers of Tyson's violent temper and unpredictable behavior began to surface. Those whispers turned into headlines after an unforgettable TV moment. Robin Givens sat next to Tyson in a national interview and described her marriage as pure hell, speaking of abuse and fear, while Tyson sat silently beside her. The image was haunting. America's most feared boxer reduced to a mute figure as his wife publicly exposed their private torment. The world was stunned. Tyson's reputation took a hit. Robin's words became etched in pop culture. a woman trapped in a marriage defined by fear, not love. Within a year, she filed for divorce, ending what had quickly become one of the most infamous celebrity unions of the decade. The fallout was brutal. Tyson's career spiraled amid legal troubles and personal scandals. Robin faced backlash from Tyson's fans, but her courage made her a symbol of speaking truth to power. Decades later, their brief, turbulent marriage remains a textbook case of how fame and violence can collide with devastating consequences. Love cannot coexist with fear, and when a marriage becomes a boxing ring, someone always leaves bruised, even if the gloves never come off. Khloe Kardashian and Lamar Odom, reality TV's fairy tale that crashed in real time. In 2009, Khloe Kardashian and Lamar Odom gave Hollywood its favorite plot twist, a whirlwind romance that became a wedding, after just 1 month of dating. The ceremony wasn't just lavish, it was broadcast on Keeping Up with the Kardashians, making millions of viewers feel like they had front-row seats at a fairy tale. A reality star and an NBA champion, it was perfect branding, perfect television, and for a while, perfect love. But reality TV edits can only hide so much. Behind the glamorous lifestyle, Khloe became the dutiful wife, standing by Lamar through career highs and lows. Yet as the cameras kept rolling, so did the rumors, infidelity, late-night disappearances, and, most devastating of all, Lamar's spiraling drug addiction. The breaking point came in 2015, when Lamar was found unconscious in a Nevada brothel after an overdose. The shocking headlines weren't just tabloid fodder, they were a public unraveling of a marriage millions had once rooted for. Khloe, showing loyalty that stunned even her critics, rushed to his side, helping in his recovery even though their relationship was already fractured beyond repair. Eventually, Khloe filed for divorce, admitting that love can't save someone who doesn't want to be saved. Lamar, in interviews, later confessed to his mistakes, publicly acknowledging that he had lost the best thing in his life. Their story remains one of the most tragic arcs in the Kardashian universe, a marriage born in spectacle, destroyed by addiction, and remembered as a cautionary tale. Because in Hollywood, even the brightest fairy tales can collapse under the weight of very real demons. Scarlett Johansson and Ryan Reynolds. When Hollywood stardom outshines love. When Scarlett Johansson and Ryan Reynolds tied the knot in 2008, fans thought they had cracked the code to Hollywood love. She was the sultry, critically acclaimed it girl, climbing to A-list superstardom. He was the charming, quick-witted heartthrob destined to make every rom-com sparkle. Their private wedding in Canada was so low-key that the paparazzi barely caught a glimpse, a rare move in an industry addicted to spectacle. For a moment, it seemed like they were smart enough to dodge the Hollywood curse. But stardom isn't a silent partner. It's a third wheel. Both were hitting career peaks at the same time. Scarlett was filming back-to-back blockbusters. Ryan was cementing his path to becoming Deadpool. Distance, packed schedules, and constant travel didn't create intimacy. They created a void. And in that void, competition, ego, resentment. Scarlett later admitted that fame didn't bring them closer. It pulled them apart. Ryan, for his part, confessed they couldn't balance two powerhouse careers under one roof. What was once privacy turned into silence, and what was once admiration turned into quiet rivalry. By 2010, barely 2 years after the wedding, the couple announced their split. No scandal, no screaming tabloid headlines, just two of Hollywood's brightest stars dimming each other's light. Fans were heartbroken, left wondering how two people who looked so perfect on paper could fail so fast. In Hollywood, sometimes the very thing that makes you powerful, the spotlight, is the same thing that burns you alive. Their divorce proved that love can't survive if there's no room for vulnerability between the flashing cameras and red carpets. Mel B and Stephen Belafonte, from Spice Girl to A Marriage of Secrets and Scars. On stage, she was Scary Spice, a global icon of girl power. Off stage, Mel B thought she had found lasting happiness when she married film producer Stephen Belafonte in 2007. For years, they paraded as a picture-perfect couple, smiling at red carpets, hand in hand at premieres, seemingly living the glamorous life. But behind the glittery facade was a love story that looked less like wannabe and more like a psychological thriller. According to Mel B, their marriage was anything but empowering. She described years of manipulation, financial control, and emotional abuse. Stephen allegedly dictated her career, her friendships, even her bank accounts. The same woman who once preached independence on global stages was quietly living in what she later called a golden cage. The fear was constant, the silence suffocating. By 2017, the mask cracked. Mel B filed for divorce, and the courtroom drama became a headline frenzy. Allegations of domestic violence, intimidation, and betrayal splashed across every tabloid. Fans were stunned. How could a Spice Girl, a symbol of strength, endure nearly a decade of hidden torment? The answer was heartbreaking. Love can sometimes disguise control, and fame can sometimes amplify silence. The divorce exposed everything. From legal battles over money to custody fights, it was messy, public, and raw. Mel B admitted she nearly lost herself completely, but walking away became her ultimate act of survival. Her story serves as a chilling reminder. True love never cages you, it frees you. And no amount of luxury, fame, or public image can mask a relationship built on fear. Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, love on trial, broadcast to the world. If Hollywood divorces are messy, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard turned theirs into a global spectacle. What began as a whirlwind romance on the set of The Rum Diary spiraled into one of the most publicized legal battles of the decade, part soap opera, part courtroom thriller. They married in 2015, a pairing of Hollywood royalty and rising star. But just a year later, Amber filed for divorce, alleging abuse. The world gasped. Johnny, the beloved Captain Jack Sparrow, suddenly stood accused of being a real-life villain. The tabloids devoured every detail, while fans split into camps, Team Johnny versus Team Amber. Then came round two, lawsuits. In 2019, Depp sued Amber for defamation after she wrote an op-ed describing herself as a survivor of abuse. What followed was a trial streamed to millions, turning the courtroom into prime-time television. Allegations flew, violence, manipulation, texts too shocking to print. Witnesses, psychologists, even doormen were dragged into the circus. Every day, new clips went viral. Amber crying on the stand, Johnny cracking jokes with his lawyers. TikTok became a battleground. Memes, debates, and conspiracy theories flooded the internet. It wasn't just a trial, it was a cultural event, with the entire world playing jury. In 2022, the verdict favored Johnny, awarding him millions in damages. His fans cheered victory. Amber's supporters cried injustice. And Hollywood learned a brutal truth. When love curdles into hate, the fallout doesn't just break hearts, it breaks careers. Their story isn't just about divorce. It's about how a private war became a public spectacle, forever reshaping two legacies. Because when love ends in a courtroom, the real winner is never clear. Kim Kardashian and Kanye West, from power couple to public meltdown. When Kim Kardashian and Kanye West got together in 2012, it felt like Hollywood had unlocked its ultimate cheat code. She was the queen of reality TV and social media. He was a musical genius and self-proclaimed cultural prophet. Together, they weren't just a couple. They were a brand, a spectacle, an empire. Their 2014 wedding in Italy was so extravagant, it made royal nuptials look budget-friendly. For years, they reigned as the ultimate power duo, with 4 kids, countless magazine covers, and an endless stream of headlines. But then came the cracks. Kanye's unpredictable behavior, Twitter rants, controversial politics, very public meltdowns, clashed with Kim's carefully curated image. Behind closed doors, the chaos only grew. By 2021, after months of speculation and paparazzi shots of icy car rides, Kim filed for divorce. And because this was Kimye, the breakup wasn't quiet. Kanye launched public pleas to win Kim back, wrote songs about her, and blasted their private texts online. At the same time, Kim moved on, very publicly, with comedian Pete Davidson, turning the rebound into a tabloid feeding frenzy. The world watched in real time as America's most famous family and one of its most infamous rappers went to war via Instagram posts and court filings. Eventually, the dust settled. Kim was granted $200,000 a month in child support, and they agreed to joint custody of their 4 kids. But the cultural impact? Far messier. Kanye went from aspirational to cautionary tale, a reminder that even billion-dollar love stories can collapse under the weight of ego, fame, and far too many camera flashes. Because in Hollywood, even when you have it all, you can still lose it all. And when you're Kim and Kanye, you'll lose it in front of the entire world. David Geffen and Donovan Michaels. Billion-dollar love turns into a courtroom war. When billionaire music mogul David Geffen married 32-year-old model Donovan Michaels, it looked like another tale of power meets beauty. Geffen, the legendary founder of Geffen Records and DreamWorks, was 82 years old. Michaels was half a century younger, impossibly photogenic, and suddenly living in one of the most exclusive worlds on the planet. Together, they appeared to blend Hollywood, Wall Street, and the glossy pages of Vanity Fair. But behind the Hamptons estates and yachts, a darker story was brewing. By 2025, their marriage had imploded into one of the messiest billionaire divorces in recent history. Donovan sued Geffen, claiming their relationship wasn't love, it was control. According to court documents, he alleged Geffen demanded sexual domination, pushed him into cosmetic surgery, and micromanaged his appearance like a casting director from hell. For a man who once discovered talents like Aerosmith and Nirvana, Geffen seemed less interested in artistry and more in manufacturing a partner. The scandal didn't stop there. Michaels claimed Geffen cut him off from career opportunities, controlling his social circle and even monitoring his movements. Suddenly, the glamorous image of an older mentor and younger muse looked more like a gilded cage. And the stakes? Sky high. With Geffen's net worth in the billions and no prenuptial agreement, Donovan's lawsuit threatened to become not just personal revenge, but one of the costliest splits in celebrity history. The tabloids dubbed it the Battle of the Billionaire Bedroom. Geffen, of course, denied the ugliest allegations, but the damage was done. His carefully cultivated reputation as a visionary genius was now tainted by whispers of control and exploitation. Even billionaires can't buy loyalty or silence. And when love and power mix, the fallout is rarely quiet. Hulk Hogan and Linda. Hogan, from wrestling royalty to a ringside divorce drama. For over 2 decades, Hulk Hogan wasn't just the face of wrestling, he was the face of a family empire. With his blonde handlebar mustache, 24-inch pythons, and reality TV show Hogan Knows Best, he seemed like the ultimate American dad. By his side was Linda, his high school sweetheart turned wife of 24 years. Together they sold the fantasy, fame, fortune, and a picture-perfect family, complete with beachfront mansions and muscle cars. But the fantasy soon crumbled into one of Hollywood's ugliest divorces. In 2007, Linda filed for divorce, shattering the image of stability Hogan had carefully crafted. What followed was a steel cage match played out in tabloids and courtrooms. Linda accused Hogan of being controlling, abusive, and, most explosively, unfaithful. Rumors swirled that he'd had an affair with none other than his daughter Brooke's best friend. Fans recoiled. The real American hero suddenly looked like the villain. The divorce battle grew brutal. Financial wars erupted over their $30 million fortune, while Linda aired dirty laundry about Hogan's temper and infidelity. Hogan denied the worst of it, but later admitted the divorce nearly broke him, financially and emotionally. The man who once body-slammed giants now claimed he was living in fear of losing everything. Meanwhile, Linda rebranded herself, dating a man 30 years younger, giving interviews that painted Hogan as a narcissist hiding behind his fame. The once golden couple of wrestling became late-night punchlines, their drama overshadowing even the WWE storylines Hogan once headlined. Their divorce remains infamous, not just because it ended a marriage, but because it ended an illusion. Behind the flexing and family-friendly reality show was a relationship already pinned to the mat by lies, betrayal, and broken trust. Denise Richards and Aaron Pfeiffer's From Malibu Love Nest to a Divorce Disaster Zone. At first, Denise Richards and Aaron Pfeiffer's sold the fantasy. The former Bond girl and Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star found her match in the rugged spiritual healer who seemed to balance Hollywood glam with Malibu zen. They married in 2018 in a breezy Malibu ceremony, smiling like they'd cracked the secret to lasting love. But by 2025, the fairy tale had gone up in flames, and so, allegedly, had their house. When Denise filed for divorce, things got ugly fast. She accused Aaron and his family of leaving her Calabasas home trashed, ripped up flooring, smashed fixtures, and what she described as a biohazard left by pets. Photos of the crime scene quickly made their way into tabloids, and suddenly their split wasn't just about love lost. It was about property damage. Aaron fired back, claiming the house was already in ruins thanks to years of neglect, and that Denise was just trying to play the victim card for sympathy. The accusations escalated into a bizarre blame game. Was it reckless destruction or just a dirty floor war? The drama didn't stop at the drywall. Denise accused Aaron of being emotionally manipulative, while Aaron hinted that Denise's reality TV life thrived on manufactured conflict. Fans of Housewives couldn't believe they were watching a divorce arc wilder than anything Bravo's producers could script. Financial battles, character assassinations, and leaked photos turned their breakup into a full-blown tabloid saga. What once looked like California bliss now resembled a courtroom soap opera. Love may build a Malibu dream home, but divorce can turn it into a demolition site, both literally and emotionally.